Have you ever had one of those moments where you realize your entire life has been built on a total lie? I mean, think about it for a second. You wake up, you go to work, you deal with your messy relationship drama, and then suddenly your mom drops a nuclear bomb on you that changes your very DNA. That is exactly where we are with Ashley Morgan in Beyond the Gates right now, and honestly, Fairmont Crest is never going to be the same. We've been watching Ashley struggle with the terrifying news that her boyfriend, Grayson, is caught up in this super dangerous plasma ring operation. She's already scared, she's already vulnerable, and then Jan, her own mother, decides that now is the perfect time to confess a secret she's been burying for 20 years. Jan finally admits that Ashley's biological father isn't just some random ghost from the past. He's alive, he's well, and he's living right here in Fairmont Crest. And the crazy part? Ashley already knows him. But wait, it gets so much deeper than just a long-lost dad story. Jan reveals that the man is Joey Armstrong. Yes, that Joey Armstrong, the guy who owns the local casino and is basically a kingpin in the town's underworld. So, the funny thing is that Jan kept this pregnancy a secret from Joey from the very beginning. He didn't even know he had a daughter. For 2 decades, Jan just carried this massive weight alone, watching Ashley grow up while the man who helped create her was just a few miles away, probably running a high-stakes poker game. Why did she wait until now to say something? Well, Jan's logic is a bit twisted, if you ask me. She sees Ashley sinking into this mess with the plasma ring and Grayson, and she thinks Joey is the only one powerful enough to step in and save her. It's like she's outsourcing her motherly duties to a man she didn't trust for 20 years because things got a little too real for her. Let's look at the psychology of Jan for a minute, because this is wild. Why would a mother hide a child for that long? I think it comes down to pure, unadulterated control. Jan admitted to Derek recently that she has some serious relationship issues, and it's clear those issues led her to treat her daughter's identity like a piece of classified information. By denying Joey the truth, she kept Ashley all to herself, but now that the shady world is knocking on their door, she's terrified. It's such a soap opera move, isn't it? We see this kind of recursive progression in these shows all the time, where a character has to constantly redefine their past to make sense of a chaotic present. Jan isn't telling the truth because it's the right thing to do. She's doing it because she can't handle the pressure of Grayson's life-or-death deadlines anymore. Do you think she actually cares about Joey's right to know? Or is she just looking for a bodyguard for her daughter? And then there's Joey. This guy is a piece of work. He's running a gambling pit and supposedly has his hands all over that plasma ring investigation. The irony here is just too much to handle. Jan wants Joey to save Ashley from the plasma ring, but Joey might actually be part of the reason the ring is so dangerous in the first place. It's like asking a shark to protect a goldfish from a different shark. If Joey is as powerful as the sources suggest, this revelation is going to hit his ego like a freight train. He's gone 20 years without a legacy, and now he finds out he has a daughter who is basically a local good girl. Will he feel guilty for missing out on her life, or will he feel a sense of ownership? Men like Joey don't just become dads. They try to take over. I can already see him trying to groom Ashley into his world, telling her that his criminal connections are just business, meant to keep her safe. Ashley, though, my heart just breaks for her. She was already at a breaking point. She just turned down Derek's forever or never ultimatum because she wanted to throw caution to the wind with Andre. She was trying to find her own voice and her own agency. But now, her entire identity is shattered. Everything she thought she knew about her family history is a lie. How do you even begin to process that? Imagine walking into the casino, seeing Joey Armstrong, and realizing that his blood is literally running through your veins. It's a gut punch that makes her drama with Andre and Derek look like small potatoes. Do you think she can ever forgive her mother for this? Jan didn't just lie. She stole 20 years of a father-daughter relationship. In my opinion, that's a betrayal you don't just get over with a hug and a cup of tea. The funny thing about these super couples and big family reveals in soaps is that they always happen when the plot needs a massive jolt of energy. The sources talk about how this kind of thickening of the narrative happens by interweaving parallel plot lines. While Ashley is dealing with her daddy issues, We've got Anita finishing her chemo and the Belclairs bullying Samantha at the cotillion. It's this constant operational aesthetic where the show keeps all these plates spinning at once. But the Ashley/Joey reveal is the one that's going to have the most future impact. It's not just a secret, it's a shift in the entire social geography of Fairmont Crest. If Ashley becomes an Armstrong, she's no longer just Naomi's friend or a hospital worker. She's a casino heiress. That changes how everyone, including the police investigating the plasma ring, looks at her. Speaking of the plasma ring, Jacob and Smitty are getting closer to shutting the whole thing down. But Grayson is facing a life or death deadline that is probably going to explode right as Ashley is trying to bond with Joey. This is what we call narrative unmappability in the best possible way, where there are so many moving parts that you can't look away for even a second. I predict that Joey is going to try to buy Ashley out of trouble. He'll use his casino money and his connections to fix the Grayson problem, but at what cost? Ashley is a woman of integrity. If her new father saves her by doing something illegal, it's only going to drive a wedge between them before they even start. Is a father really a hero if he has to break the law to protect you? I also have to wonder how this affects Naomi. She's been pressuring Jacob for intel on the plasma ring because she's worried about her friend. But Naomi is all about the Dupree legacy and keeping things proper. If her best friend Ashley suddenly becomes the daughter of Joey Armstrong, that's going to be a lot for Naomi to swallow. We might see some serious tension there as Ashley gets pulled into a world that Naomi clearly looks down upon. It's fascinating how one secret can ripple out and touch every single person in town. And let's not forget the Andre versus Derek situation. Ashley chose Andre because he represented throwing caution to the wind, while Derek was the safe choice. But now that we know Joey is her father, Andre doesn't look so wild anymore, does he? Her biological dad is a casino owner linked to a plasma ring. Andre is practically a saint compared to the Armstrong legacy. Derek apologized to Ashley recently, probably for being right about Grayson all along, but his apology was a day late and $1 short. I think Ashley is going to realize that neither of these guys can help her navigate the mess Jan has created. She's going to have to lean on herself, or, God forbid, actually try to trust Joey. So I have to ask you guys, do you think Jan was actually trying to help Ashley, or was she just being selfish? I mean, she waited 20 years. If Ashley hadn't been in danger, would Jan have ever told her the truth? And what about Joey? Do you think he has a heart of gold buried under all that casino talk? Or is he just going to be another controlling man in Ashley's life? Honestly, I think we're looking at a future where Ashley has to choose between her moral compass and her new family's protection. It's the ultimate soap opera dilemma, and I am here for every single second of it. The world building in this show is so chronotopic, meaning the time and the place are so connected that you feel like you're living in Litchfield or Fairmont Crest right along with them. We've spent so much time in the hospital and the country club that these places feel real. Now, we're going to be spending a lot more time in Joey's gambling pit, and I have a feeling it's going to be a very dark, very intense ride. Jan's secret might have been meant as a shield, but it's feeling a lot more like a sword right now. What if the man meant to be your savior is actually the one holding the match to your entire world? That is the terrifying question we have to ask ourselves as we watch the latest explosion of drama in Fairmont Crest. Imagine just for a second being Ashley Morgan. You're already drowning in fear because the person you love, Grayson, is tied to a brutal criminal organization called the Plasma Ring. You're desperate, you're vulnerable, and then your mother, Jan, drops a truth bomb that basically rewrites your entire DNA. She tells you that your biological father isn't just some ghost from the past. He's Joey Armstrong, the casino mogul who's currently living right under your nose. But here is the kicker, the deep, dark twist that makes this more than just a family reunion. Joey Armstrong isn't just a powerful businessman. He is reportedly a key player in the very plasma ring that is trying to destroy Ashley's life. The funny thing about Jan is that she claims she's doing this to protect her daughter. She finally decides to break a 20-year silence because she believes Joey is the only one with enough muscle to shield Ashley from the danger Grayson has brought home. But is this really an act of maternal love, Or is it just the ultimate act of desperation from a woman who has used secrets as a form of currency her entire life? We have to analyze Jan's psychological layer here. She's a woman who admitted to having deep-seated relationship issues, which likely stems from a need for total control. By hiding Ashley's existence from Joey for 2 decades, she wasn't just protecting her daughter, she was colonizing Ashley's reality. Now that the walls are closing in, Jan is essentially outsourcing her parental responsibility to a man she once deemed too dangerous to know his own child. It's a classic move in what scholars call operational aesthetics. We're watching the gears of a complex narrative grind together to create a situation where the cure might be deadlier than the disease. Well, think about it. If Ashley finds out that her new father is part of the plasma ring, we are looking at an intense emotional and moral crisis that goes beyond anything she's faced. This isn't just a plot twist. It's a relationship of modification, where her past, present, and future are all being set on fire at once. My opinion? Jan has effectively handed her daughter over to the fox to guard the henhouse. It's incredibly ironic that she thinks a criminal kingpin is the best person to ensure Ashley's safety. From a psychological perspective, Ashley is already emotionally vulnerable because of the Grayson situation and her mother's massive deception. Learning that the man she's supposed to call Dad is linked to her tormentors would likely shatter any hope of a bond before it even starts. You can't build a father-daughter relationship on a foundation of blood money and plasma trafficking. The internal emotional rot for Ashley here would be staggering. She's spent her life believing one version of herself, and in a single conversation, she becomes Joey Armstrong, the daughter of a casino boss. I interpret this not as a gift of truth, but as a secondary trauma. Jan waited until Ashley was at her weakest to hit her with this, which feels like a betrayal of the highest order. How can Ashley ever trust Jan again after finding out her life was a classification error for 20 years? It's a shift in what Babette Tischleder calls the serial chronotope. The very space and time of Ashley's world have thickened with so much lies and corruption that she can no longer find a clear path out. She's trapped in a world where her identity is just a pawn in a larger game of criminal actor networks involving the casino and the plasma ring. And then there's Joey himself. What is going on in his head? This guy has lived for 20 years without knowing he had a legacy, and suddenly he's told he has a grown daughter. In the world of Beyond the Gates, men like Joey Armstrong don't just become fathers. They exert ownership. If he finds out Ashley is in danger, his fierce protective instincts are going to kick in, but those instincts are rooted in power and control, not necessarily altruism. I suspect Joey won't try to shut down the plasma ring to save her. Instead, he'll try to use his influence to buy her out of the trouble, which only drags her deeper into his darkness. This is where the psychological layer of ego comes in. Joey's ego won't allow his daughter to be harmed, but it also won't allow him to give up his criminal kingdom. He'll likely try to groom her to accept his world as a necessary evil. Now, let's look at this super couple dynamic that is currently being pulverized by this news. Ashley recently made the choice to throw caution to the wind with Andre, rejecting the safe Derek. She was trying to claim her own agency, to be the hero of her own story. But this revelation effectively infantilizes her. Suddenly, she's not a woman making choices. She's a daughter being fought over by a mother's lies and a father's criminal shadow. It's a regression of her character arc. If she finds out Joey is part of the ring, her choice to be with Andre, a man who represents excitement, starts to look like a death wish. How can she maintain her moral integrity while being the daughter of a kingpin? I disagree with any fan who thinks this father reveal is a good thing for Ashley's character growth. It's a narrative anchor designed to pull her back into the ingenue trap where she's constantly being saved by men with questionable motives. The situation is getting even more complicated because Joey is already a walking target. We've got Doug and Randy plotting to literally murder him or make him suffer for his past sins. This adds a layer of sensational thrills that could turn Ashley into collateral damage in a heartbeat. If she aligns with her father for protection, she's putting herself directly in the crosshairs of Doug's revenge plot. It's a complicated emotional triangle of family loyalty versus criminal danger. Interpreting Jan's decision as a massive gamble that has completely backfired. She thought Joey would be a shield, but he's actually a magnet for violence. This is what happens when you try to use operational aesthetics to fix a human life. The gears eventually crush the person they were meant to serve. Think about the police investigation too. Detective Jacob and Smitty are closing in on the ring. If Ashley is seen with Joey, her entire reputation at Garland Memorial Hospital is toast. She could be implicated in a federal investigation just by association. Imagine the emotional insight there. A woman who has spent her life trying to be good and respected suddenly being branded a criminal's daughter. The social history of soaps, as Alana Levine notes, often uses these supercouple or family dramas to normalize social issues. But here, the issue is the total collapse of a woman's moral standing. Ashley is being forced to confront a version of herself that is tainted by her father's sins. The psychological layer of resentment here is going to be massive. Ashley is already going to struggle to forgive Jan for the 20 years of silence. But if she finds out Jan essentially handed her over to a criminal to save her, that resentment will turn into a deep, permanent emotional wound. It's a betrayal that goes beyond a simple lie. It's a violation of Ashley's right to a life free from her father's corruption. Jan's secrecy hasn't just caused damage. I would argue it's caused narrative unmappability, where Ashley can no longer recognize the landscape of her own life. She's lost in a maze of recursive progression, where every step forward only reveals another lie from her past. Well, what about this supercouple factor? We've seen supercouples like Luke and Laura deal with problematic origins before, and those narratives often require a moment of change and reckoning. But Ashley and her potential partners are now caught in a dangerous heritage that might be too toxic to survive. What do you think is going to happen when Ashley and Joey finally have that first father-daughter talk? Will she scream at him? Will he try to give her a stack of casino chips and call it even? And how long until Grayson's deadline catches up with all of them? The plasma ring is closing in, and the Armstrong reveal is just the gasoline on the fire. If you're as hooked on this Beyond the Gates drama as I am, you've got to let me know your theories in the comments. Is Joey the hero we need, or the villain we deserve? Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a spoiler update. We are tracking every single move in Fairmont Crest, and you definitely don't want to be the last to know when the next bomb drops. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next one for more soap opera madness.